Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Dr. Rehab Director. Today we're going to talk about ways to help you get promoted into leadership roles in healthcare. So this video is for any of you who are in healthcare, whether you're a nurse, a therapist, doctor, physician assistant, whatever it is, and you're looking at ways to, advance and take leadership or supervisory roles in whatever setting that you're in. So just some tips, general tips that I think you'll find useful. Please feel free to hit like, subscribe, and please feel free to also drop off any question or comments down below. All right. So again, this is for general information as to how do I get promoted? How do I make my way up? One of the first things that I would say is that if you're going to stay within your organization and move up the ranks that way, you just be prepared that it'll take a little bit longer. You'll have to wait for a position to open up. You have to wait for those kind of things to happen. So obviously, if you're willing to change organizations, you could probably expedite some of those things. Again, I'm not saying that that's what you have to do. Just keep that in mind. So what's the current hierarchy in your organization, or the current hierarchy of the path that you want to follow? So ultimately, you want to know what's the top position that I see myself in, and what are the positions that are going to help me get there. Okay, so you want to have a path, a career path for that. You want to know what the hierarchy is at your organization, assuming you're staying there, and seeing what roles or responsibilities are stepping stones for those moves. Now, the other thing you have to keep in mind: do you have the minimum amount of formal education that you need for the position that you want? The higher you go up the totem pole, I guess, you have to keep in mind that there are some positions that require you to have a certain degree or a certain training or a certain certification. So you want to know what those requirements will be, and you want to make sure you have them or start working on them now. Are you currently taking the necessary steps to stand out? That means if you're looking to be a leader or supervisor, you have to be a role model. So are you one? Maybe it's not in your nature, it's not something that you feel comfortable with, but being a leader, that comes with the territory. So start doing those things. You pretty much have, I would say, you want to be an expert. You want to know your craft, whatever it is. If you're a nurse, you want to be the best nurse. If you're a doctor, you want to be the best doctor. If you're a therapist, you want to be the best therapist. So learn your craft, know the roles of other people based on the position that you're looking to get. You want to know and you want to have an idea of what your possible subordinates do. So you want to learn their craft and their, what their roles are involved. But definitely master yours. Definitely, you want to stand out. Especially if you're going to stay in house, because the people who might be hiring you are going to be people who are familiar with you, and you want to make sure that in their mind, you stand out as somebody who's proactive and who's somebody who is up to the task of that leadership or supervisory role. While you're at your current position and you're mastering it and you're becoming that excellent staff member, you want to take extra responsibilities, things that are in line with the next role that you want. And depending on the position that you're looking for and the position that you have, those extra responsibilities can vary. But definitely make sure that you don't just take extra responsibilities for the sake of doing so. Make sure that you are strategic about what you do so that it actually helps you with the next step. So when you're in an interview to try and get that next position, those extra responsibilities complement what you're doing and make you more of an asset. But at the same time, make sure you're strategic about it. Okay. If you're going to be a leader, or if you're going to be taking on a management position, you need to be a team player, and that's part of what sticking out in your current department means. That means that people have to know that you're dependable, that they can trust on you to help when the team needs. They can trust on you to jump in and fill in the gaps as needed. If you make that choice, hey, I want to be a supervisor, I want to be a leader, for whatever the reason is, you have to draw a line in the sand. And by that, what I mean is that if you're going to stay within the organization, you have to make sure that you're consistent, that you're accountable. Because if you're within your organization, the people who are your peers may one day be your subordinates. And you want to make sure that during that process, their impression of you is a positive one. So everything that you do, obviously has to be consistent, accountable, and that you're, adhering to the policies of the organization, that you are not cutting any corners, that you are, transparent in everything that you do. So again, at some point, if these are your friends, you have to draw that line that say, hey, I'm doing this now, and yeah, we can have a working relationship, we can have an outside relationship, but when we're at work, there's certain things that I may or may not be able to partake in or be able to be involved in. Okay, and at any time, regardless of whether you're at work or not at work, you have that higher standard that you have to uphold, because at that point, if you're looking at a supervisory or leadership role, you are a representative of the organization, even off hours, depending how high your position is. A big mistake that people do is sometimes they have these aspirations, but they don't tell anybody about it. They might tell their friends, but your friends aren't going to be the ones that are promoting you. It kind of feels weird, but you have to let the people who are in charge of you, or who are your supervisors or those above them, know that you wanna that what your intentions are, that you want to grow in the company. And there's a lot of formal and informal ways about doing that, but the main thing is you need to communicate that you are looking for advancement opportunities, but you have to let people know. Because when we talked about responsibilities earlier, or extra things that you might be able to do, those are the things that your mentors will kind of think about and say, hey, maybe I can delegate this to this person because they're interested in this. And it'll be a good opportunity for you, and it's also a good networking opportunity. You heard about, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I'm not going to say that that's 100% true, but it is important to have a good network of people who are also vested in you, and they're invested in your success as well, so that they can help you, guide you, and kind of make sure that they are your advocates when these opportunities arise, so that you have somebody who's backing you up, and you have that extra support as you go in there. Another thing that you want to do, if you're looking on that track, you have to be comfortable providing your input when the time arises. So if there's a team meeting, corporate meeting, sit downs with other management staff, or groups, things like that, you want to make sure, as a maybe as a start off goal, is that you provide some sort of comment or input or idea that really shows people what you're about, and that you have that kind of mentality when the opportunity arises. It can be as simple as maybe a supervisor asks you for your input on a project or something that's going on, or maybe during one of the team meetings or organizational meetings, you're there and you ask a well-placed question, something that shows that you're invested and you're really interested in the future of the organization, and that you are a member that, if you advance, can contribute to that organization. I'm not saying to go boast and brag, but when you do something well, when you organize a project, or when you do something to advance or solve a specific problem, don't be afraid to communicate that to your supervisor or managers, so that they know that it was through your effort or your thinking or your solution-based mentality that you were able to correct something or prevent an issue. Make sure that if there's opportunities that come up with like customer service issues, and maybe your supervisor's not there, that you feel comfortable filling in and taking care of that problem, and then reporting it back and saying, hey, this is what was happening before, you weren't here, so I did this and that. This is the outcome of it, and let them know, because now they know, wow, you just kind of did their job for them and you made it easier for them. Now they can worry about other things that they have on their list to do. A, it gives you the experience. B, it shows people that you're that person that can solve the problem, and that can jump into the fire when needed to take care of some business. And C, it shows the people above you that, hey, this person can do the job. Let's think about them next time there's an opening. Do you jump in the gap when the opportunity arises? So whether it's a coworker needing help, whether it's a customer, a patient, a resident, a family member who's irate and has a complaint, whether there's some logistical or operational issues, whether people are not understanding certain policies, are you willing to jump in and explain or assist as needed? And if you're looking for that supervisory leadership role in a healthcare environment, you have to start getting yourself comfortable with. I know we work with people, we work for people, and we work around people. So you have to be a people person. You have to be able to understand that our customers are not just the residents and their families. There are other healthcare personnel, there are other vendors, there are other organizations, there are other policymakers. There's just about everybody who comes in contact with you is a customer in that sense. Um, as a leader, you have to make sure that you're doing your job. And for me personally, I see myself as a leader or a supervisor, and I know that my job is primarily to be a servant. That means I serve the organization and I serve my subordinates. I try to make sure that I do everything I can in my power to make the people who work under me, to make their job as easy as possible, to make it fit together so that they have as least stress as possible. Uh, for those above me, I make sure that they know that I take care of business on my end, and I make sure that things are flowing the way they need to, and that they are being done in an efficient and productive manner. And at the same time, I need to go in both directions and do a gentle nudge when I need to. So if I need to talk to my staff about opportunities for improvement and coaching, I'm going to do that. If I need to go up the chain of command and say, hey, we need to change the way we do things around here and have a productive conversation about that, I need to be able to feel comfortable with that. And at the same time, understanding that my input going up the chain of command may or may not always be received, or may not, be contribute to an actual change being made. But as a leader, I have to do that. And at the same time, on the way down, I have to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to make sure that my staff is as prepared as possible. So if they need to be trained or refreshed on something, I need to do that. If I see that there's opportunities for them to grow and they've voiced their opinions that they want to learn more about certain things, I need to put them in positions and in scenarios that promote their abilities. Well, there you have it. If you have any other suggestions or any comments, please feel free to leave it for me. Please subscribe, like. Have a good day.